ticking and it's ticking fast. We've had enough, this greed can't last. So count your days. You raise the price, but the vibe ain't right. Monthly subscription bills on repeat. Prices rise, but the pay don't change. We're stuck in the middle of a losing game. Count your days. Your game's exposed, the whole world knows your time is up, no more to say. Claiming inflation, but we see the play. How much more do we have to pay? Count your days.
Hey tea sippers, I hope you guys are doing good today. So welcome to another episode of Count Your Days.
Count your fucking days, bitch.
Yes, count your days, bitch. It is getting real out here. If you guys do not know, I talked about this a few months ago when the big, beautiful, or should I say the big, ugly ass bill, okay, came down the pipeline. Now the chickens are coming home to roost. If you guys do not know, well, I'm sure you guys know by now, voting definitely has consequences. So what's going down is this. Now that the big, beautiful bill has been passed, it is affecting Medicaid patients. And what that means is this. I think a lot of people assume that folks on Medicaid were simply able-bodied Americans who just didn't feel like working, who just wanted free dental care, free health care, food stamps, and everything else. But what a lot of people didn't realize is that a lot of elderly people, a lot of folks, his parents in these nursing homes, were also receiving Medicaid. And even people who have like their kids or relatives at these group homes, you know, who might have autism or who might be kind of slow or have behavioral issues, a lot of those patients are also on Medicaid as well. So what is happening around the country from Minnesota to North Carolina is that a lot of elderly people and patients in group homes and everything else are being told that they have 30 days to vacate. A lot of nursing homes are being shut down because they're literally funded by not only the state, you know, by federal programs as well. So a lot of these facilities are shutting down and they're saying that you have to be out of there by September. So this is affecting a lot of people. A lot of people are very much upset by this because now they got to figure out how they're going to take care of their elderly parents, plus work and take care of their children. So it is getting real. This is a discussion that's going on all over TikTok. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of these videos together, but it is sad. A lot is coming down the pipeline, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of what is happening currently around the country.
Hey folks, I really need your full attention on this. You Care, a nonprofit based in Minneapolis, is cutting off Medicaid coverage to nearly 88,000 people in Minnesota. Starting September 1st, people living in 11 counties, including Ramsey, St. Louis, and Stearns, will be forced to find a new insurance provider. Why? You Care says it's losing too much money. Their claim is that the government isn't reimbursing enough to cover actual patient care. So they're pulling out of Benton, Chisago, Crow Wing, Pennington, Ramsey, Roseau, Sherburne, Stearns, St. Louis, Wadena, and Wright counties until at least the end of the year. This affects people under the prepaid medical assistance program and Minnesota Care, but not seniors or people with disabilities. Still, tens of thousands of low-income families will have to scramble to find coverage. And You Care says it's working with the state to transition them. Let's be real. This isn't just about You Care. The bigger story is the federal Medicaid cuts just signed into law by the president, part of this GOP-led tax break and spending slash package. Minnesota expects to lose $500 million in federal Medicaid funding, and the CBO projects 11.8 million Americans could lose coverage nationwide. So this isn't just a temporary inconvenience. It's part of a trend. Healthcare for low-income people is under attack, and this decision by You Care might just be the first domino.
And this is scary because Ramsey County covers St. Paul, which is one of the biggest cities in Minnesota, you know, we're the Twin Cities, so St. Paul and Minneapolis. So Ramsey County is huge. There's a lot of people in Ramsey County who depend on these programs. And so for people to just be cut off like that is insane. I also low-key feel like they're low-key trying to punish Tim Walz, our governor, but that's a whole nother conspiracy, child.
If you or someone you know is in any one of these counties, start planning now. The system isn't going to catch you. You're going to have to fight to stay covered. I will keep following this. If you have questions or stories from the front lines of this absolute mess, drop them in the comments.
People are starting to see Medicaid. I've seen, I don't know, maybe 10 videos this morning. These poor people. They've lost their Medicaid. And at least the people in these videos, they don't have a pension. They don't have savings. Their Medicaid is what is paying for their medication, predominantly. And they can't afford it. There was one gentleman that is on 23, I think he said, medications. Some basically, in his words, to sustain his life. And he can't afford them. And as I listened to these videos, I thought, God, like, how did we get here? That we are now taking benefits away from people.
We got here because racism, bigotry, xenophobia, and everything is very expensive. And people thought that it would not affect them because, again, those are those people over there. And now the leopards are coming back to eat people's faces. And I hope the man that, has all these medical issues and has to be on all these medications, I hope he was smart in his voting decisions. But, who knows? Like I always say, we're all one big circle of life. So what affects one affects us all. We're thinking, as individuals and not thinking for the collective. And here we are in 2025, unfortunately.
How did we get here? How did people vote for this? There were a couple Republicans on these videos, and they seemed absolutely shocked that they suddenly didn't have Medicaid. It was kind of like we thought Democrats were lying, and now we know they weren't. And just the vibe was, they were shocked. They were absolutely shocked. The others were Democrats, and they knew what was coming down the pipeline, didn't expect it so fast, I think. And how do you have time to prepare for something, even if you know that it's coming, when you don't have the funds? They don't have the funds. And I feel so bad for these people. There's just, I don't have it in me to kind of go, at least in this moment, to go like, we told you so. I've had moments of that, but we told you. But you listen to the guy that's on the list instead.
Well, it's officially trickled down to North Carolina that Medicaid cuts are going into effect. And unfortunately, a lot of, our elderly patients are no longer going to have homes, assisted homes, where they can afford to actually live and be taken care of. This means mental health will have more people. I mean, we already got a pretty nice homeless population. I'm assuming it's going to get even worse. I think the people who are going to get the grunt of what's happening with these Medicare cuts are going to be the people in the rural areas of the state. So especially those who got hit by Hurricane Helene, which Asheville area, I mean, y'all got hit pretty bad with it. I just kind of feel like right now, y'all swore up and down, and I'm just gonna say it. Y'all swore up and down Joe Biden wasn't trying to help y'all. Now you're really going to feel what it feels like to not have any help. And it's like, it's so sad that we have come to this where it was just like, damn, now you can finally open your eyes and see it. He has always been playing the game. He's always been playing the game. And while a lot of people want this, like, you want the white purity, it's never coming back. It's never coming back. Y'all voted based upon something that's just such an old, ignorant mind frame. And now, including y'all, but everybody else has to suffer. It's gonna be interesting. Oh, I did hear that the cut to the kids wasn't as harsh, so a lot of the benefits that kids need, they tried to keep those things in place. But as far as adults, it means a lot of y'all in rural areas gonna have to go to bigger cities and either try and get some private insurance or maybe direct with the doctor. I mean, and
I've had a lot of experience in the medical field this year because back in November, I had an accident where I basically ripped my arm off at the elbow and had to have a surgery to reattach it. And even after that surgery was successful and my hand started working, I was still paralyzed in the bicep and in the shoulder, and the surgery to try to reattach those nerves cost more than $400,000, so thank God I had insurance. But at the time that Medicaid is being cut in Virginia, because the big, beautiful bill passed by Congress is going to cut Medicaid for about 300,000 Virginians. And I think about the number of children, the number of elderly people, the number of widows, the number of just hardworking Virginians who are not going to feel comfortable accessing medical care, are going to be worried about the insurmountable medical debt they're going to go in just trying to get basic things treated. Because as I saw with my surgery that cost over $400,000, some of the most basic things can cost insane amounts of money. And it really bothers me that Winsome Sears, who is running for governor, is all in support of the big, beautiful bill and the Medicaid cuts in Virginia because she is a Virginian. And if you're going to be governor and say that people should not have medical care, that's concerning.
All right, this is going to be a little long, so I apologize. The Department of Health and Human Services today reached out to all Medicaid providers and gave us an update on Medicaid funding and where things are going for the next fiscal year. It's not good. They have cut 3% of all reimbursement rates for all services. That's healthcare, behavioral health, long-term care, nursing home care, child care, all of it. Everything got cut by 3%. But that wasn't enough to work with the budget that was given to them by the General Assembly. So they have a $319 million budget shortfall. So many programs also had an 8% cut instead of 3%, and some programs had a 10% cut. Here are some examples of the programs that had 10% cut. Inpatient healthcare stays, outpatient hospital stays, nursing home care took a 10% cut. PRTFs, psychiatric rehabilitation treatment facilities. I really need you to know those residential facilities, I said rehabilitation's residential, those facilities house individuals who have often cannot live on their own, have high levels of violence, and they're individuals that need high levels of supervision, medication, and support in order to be successful at all. And we cut funding to those facilities. Good call.
And it's scary because, I have relatives who work at those type of facilities, and, a lot of the young people who live there are violent. They have issues. They need help. So if these homes get shut down and the family members can't take care of them, that's why they're in these facilities, where do they go? They're going to be out on the street. They're going to be attacking people. They're going to be having, schizophrenic episodes and things like that. So this is a huge trickle-down effect, and it's really scary because all of these budgets that are being cut are affecting real people, real families, but it's very interesting how we have billions of extra dollars to send overseas to certain countries. And y'all fill in the blanks of those countries that we're sending billions of dollars to.
8% cuts to things like outpatient treatment, physician care, specialty doctors got 8% cut to their reimbursement rates as well. Cutting the reimbursement rates is going to cause problems. Not here in Wake County, where I work, and not in Durham County, where I live. It is going to cause huge problems to the rural communities and counties here in North Carolina, in places where they already didn't have enough doctors, nurses, psychiatrists, therapists, all of those things. That there already weren't enough of those people in those areas to provide services. Now those individuals will no longer be able to bill Medicaid. It is also worth noting that roughly 3 million people are on Medicaid services, and most of that is spread out throughout the state. And a lot of those people are children. Now, DHHS was smart, and they made most of the cuts to the adult programs and kept all things related to child care under Medicaid limited to that 3% cut. So shout out to them for thinking of the kids, who are a majority of Medicaid recipients. But it is important to recognize that this policy is going to close places. It's going to close clinics. It's going to close private practice doctors, or like individual doctors' offices, outpatient primary care providers. Specialty doctors who already don't really work in these communities will have no incentive to travel out there and provide services, which means that there will be a drain of these skill sets from these rural communities. They will move into the cities where they can operate under private insurance or in private pay situations. This is going to be a disaster for the farming and
This is what he's saying is so true. And the thing that's really scary about this, you guys, is this is the beginning of the end of the medical system. Doctors are being laid off, nurses. Remember, these were steady jobs. Everybody was going to nursing school. People were encouraged to become doctors and things like that. How can you go to school to be a doctor for years, get all this student loan debt, and there's literally nowhere to work? Because a lot of these hospitals, they're the ones billing Medicaid. These insurance companies are the ones getting rich. It's not even the doctors and the nurses, it's the insurance companies. I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole with how much of a scam a lot of these insurance companies are and the things that they're doing to scam Medicaid. Let's continue.
In rural communities in this state. It is also worth noting that the same communities that will be heavily affected by this were also the ones heavily affected by Hurricane Helene. We are, by policy, abandoning those people. You cannot just get a doctor to move to your community and then offer affordable services to everyone. That's not a thing that happens. Not because of how we've set up our healthcare system, that just doesn't happen. Which means that people will drive 100, 200, 300 miles to see a doctor. They'll drive to Mecklenburg County, to Wake County, to Durham County to see specialists. Imagine you have a loved one of yours that has a cancer diagnosis and they have to drive 2 hours into the city to get their treatments and then 2 hours home. How much extra burden financially that puts on you as an individual, and how much more of a burden it places on the healthcare system. Not to mention the fact that many specialties in those counties already have 6-month wait lists. I have a person that I'm connected with that has been trying to see a gastroenterologist. Every person they've called, covered by their insurance, has a 6-month waiting list for a problem they need to be seen for now. Imagine how much worse that is going to get when all these rural communities don't have treatment providers to go to of any kind and have to come into the major cities for that. I need you to know something. Your taxpayer money is paying for Medicaid. And it is paying, you are paying for somebody else's health care. It is also worth noting that your health insurance premium is also paying for somebody else's health care. That is how health insurance works, but that's besides the point. But the reason you want this money spent is because Medicaid will dictate where the needs are. They do a gap analysis every year and say, we don't have enough doctors or treatment facilities in this area, and they will provide grants and funding to send people out there. And nonprofit organizations and other healthcare entities will take advantage of those grants and go provide healthcare services where they otherwise would not, because it's not financially viable without support from taxpayer grants. Okay? That's just the way that this works when it comes to providing healthcare in our system. The system needs some overhaul, but this policy is not going to fix anything. It's going to make it worse. One of the other areas, nursing homes, took a 10% reimbursement rate cut. For-profit nursing homes operate on razor-thin margins. I knew somebody once who compared it to restaurant margins. Okay? Tiny. Nonprofits also struggle to break even on a regular basis. Cutting those rates means that they're going to do one of two things. Number one, they're either just going to close outright. They're just going to shut their doors and sell the property. Number two, they're going to kick all their Medicaid clients out, refuse to take Medicaid clients, and only take private pay. Fun fact, Medicare doesn't cover nursing home care. Okay? This is going to lead to elderly who are homeless that also have complicated medical conditions. It's going to fill up the hospitals. As I mentioned, rural hospitals probably will start closing or have a reduced number of beds because they won't have the providers they need to operate or the funding they need to operate. This is a disaster for rural healthcare here in North Carolina, and particularly in areas hit by Hurricane Helene. This is a foolish policy. I will illustrate how foolish it is by telling you about a problem. There was a pilot program being funded by Medicaid and DHHS under a federal grant. That program was determining how to administer Medicaid services more efficiently. And they were saving $1,000 per person per year for every recipient on that program. They were going to take their learnings from that and apply that to Medicaid as a whole, which would have saved millions of dollars per year. And they just cut the funding for that program in its entirety, and then cut funding for Medicaid services. It is also worth knowing that this current budget shortfall is not yet connected to the federal budget that passed recently. Those cuts are still also coming.
So this is just very apparent that they want the populace sick, broke, depressed, and dead. They're trying to thin the herd, okay? They're trying to get rid of the useless eaters, in the words of Margaret Sanger. It's frightening what's going on, but like I said, I want you guys to be aware of this. So let's continue.
And so it begins. In certain states, nursing homes have already started reaching out to their residents who receive Medicaid, giving them 30 days to find another place basically to get their care provided to them. Why, you ask? Come on, sip a little tea with Auntie. Let's talk about it. The big beautiful bill. The big beautiful bill. These companies, these nursing homes are coming to the realization that they're losing money by having these residents in their facility. But secondly, y'all, I want y'all to think deeper into it. If these residents, I'd say probably 60% or 70% of the residents inside of nursing homes, a good bit of y'all are there because of Medicaid. You know, if they getting rid of 60, 70% of Medicaid people, who takes care of most of those residents in the nursing home? Think about it. The nurses are there to give them their medicine, assist with wound care and all that other stuff. But the basis of their bathing and feeding them and changing their beds and all that stuff is typically the job of a CNA. If you ain't got no residents, what you need CNAs for? It all works hand in hand. CNA's gonna have to find other locations to work at. Residents gonna have to find locations that accept Medicaid, which is gonna be far and few for a whole lot of people, for the simple fact of they're gonna be losing more money than they're gaining by keeping people who receive Medicaid to pay for their health, their well-being, they're taken care of inside of these facilities. It's gonna get rough, and it's not just gonna start and end with nursing homes either. Think about those rural areas. The state of Louisiana is full of them that only have 2 hospitals in these rural areas. 1 out of 2 is going to close. What does that mean for you if you stay in an hour and a half before your only emergency facility for you to be able to get to? Can't run to an urgent care real quick because they getting ready to close them down too. A lot of people in one place. It's not gonna be good, y'all. This is only the beginning, and I'm not on here trying to fearmonger nobody, y'all. These are facts. This is happening ahead of time. If you don't
And I hate that word fear-mongering because I've been accused of that my whole YouTube career, basically. But it's funny how people love to say it's fear-mongering, and then we see the truth coming to pass. What a lot of it is people's cognitive dissonance, where they're scared to face reality. And now reality is hitting a lot of people in the face, and they're understanding that, yeah, that insurance that you have, that you thought, oh, well, I'm not getting food stamps, I'm not getting benefits. Some people's insurances were a part of Medicaid. Medicaid was paying for some of these people's insurances. It may not be called Medicaid, on the paperwork, but a lot of people were getting some type of benefit from the system, especially with low cost and sliding scale medical assistant help. So this is going to affect a lot of people moving forward that may not even realize it until they get that letter in the mail.
don't believe me, just go type in your search bar and look at this video of this young lady who's puzzled right now because she don't know where she's gonna put her father at. He's in a nursing home. He receives Medicaid that pays for his stay in that nursing home, and they gave her 30 days. He has to be out of that nursing home by September the 15th. He has to be gone out of the nursing home and find another location that'll accept him with his Medicaid. It's sad, y'all. It is sad.
It's happening. Did you guys see that woman talking about her father who got kicked out of the nursing home? That's not a random story. It's happening across the country. Just like we thought. Because of that wonderful, our big, beautiful bill, nursing homes are discharging residents who rely on Medicare or Medicaid because they won't be able to pay. Why? Because those programs are being gutted by funding cuts. Most of the residents are there because Medicare or Medicaid pays for their care. So without that funding, these facilities can't survive. They will kick people out. When the money disappears, they close. They don't care for your loved ones for free. They'll send them home to you. That means you quit your job, lose half your household income, and then all of a sudden you're the full-time caregiver. And then when thousands of caregivers leave the workforce, when nursing homes shut down, the economy takes a hit. This whole thing's not just about politics. It's about whether your parents, your spouse, your kids will have the care they need when they need it. People voted for this. Medicare and Medicaid cuts don't just hurt the elderly and the disabled. Believe it or not, they hurt every single one of us in some way.
So now we kicking old people out of nursing homes, packing a bag and chucking up the dudes. That's what we doing now. Because that's what's happening, and the reason it's happening is because these states are not going to foot the bill. Remember that big, beautiful bill that Donald Trump signed? Yeah, he didn't give a crap about your grandma. You gonna have to move her in with you, boo-boo. He don't care. That's what people don't realize, and y'all are so gung-ho in supporting him, and he is tearing your life apart. Kicking old people out nursing homes over money. God, what would Jesus do? He would flip a lid because this is inhumane, but this is what you voted for.
Well, I just spoke to my mother who's in the nursing home. You know, she and my family have told me for the past 10 years to keep my mouth shut and to not offend people with my, political views, because my political views are, let's take care of people. Let's not be assholes. And let's not lie about facts. Because immigrants are not more dangerous than the men that have my skin color. Never have been. Never will be. Ever. We are the predators. It's on every single map. It's charts and graphs, man. If you have problems with numbers, it's basic charts and graphs. Okay, but I digress. My mom called. She's already heard about what's happening at the nursing homes because she lives in a nursing home. Thank God my brother put her in a nursing home in Kansas and not Missouri. That's her only hope, is that she's in a blue state. Of course, Kansas is still full of a whole bunch of, my dad used to say, sunflowers and sons of bitches, but I loved Kansas. Missouri's the sons of bitches. Missouri's holding a special election, trying to get everybody redistricted because they are the boot-lickin'est boot-licking. What does Trump have on them? He's holding everybody hostage. But now, here's where they fucked up. They passed that big, beautiful bill, and everyone said, oh, we're going to get all these people that don't deserve Medicaid off of Medicaid. Shit. Whatever. Y'all that don't understand how anything works, that's not how it works. There's nobody on Medicaid that doesn't fully qualify for Medicaid. They only look through your fucking doctor's records. Idiots. Okay, but my mom called, and she's not sure what she's going to do. And the only good thing, and if this video got out to my brother, he would say, yeah, there's my sister. We told that motherfucker never to vote for Donald Trump. My brother there are familial responsibilities in 29 states out of 50. And what that means is, it's a little known fact that children are responsible for their parents. That's for their food, clothing, housing, and medical care. The children are financially responsible for their parents. Now, you may have had a bad mom. You may have had a horrible dad. But because of the fact that they are your parent, there is a little known fact called a filial, F-I-L-L-A-L, I believe it is, responsibility, means that you are responsible for all of the bills, for all of your mother's medication, for all of your mother's welfare, for her clothes, for her food. Oh, she's not going to get SNAP benefits because we already cut all the SNAP benefits. So I hope you don't mind working a third job to take care of your mom. And I told my mom this afternoon, good thing her son's Republican. The only family member in our family that is Republican is one of my brothers. And we don't know what the fuck happened to him. I mean, we're all Democrats. As far as the eye can see, we've got one lone Republican, but he's the one that insisted on voting for Donnie John. So now he's going to be fighting it out because I have one brother that is not super healthy, not able to take care of my mother. And then I'm out here in California. I'm not bringing her out here. I don't even have a place to live out here where I could take care of her. Dadgummit. I saw a gal that was a physical therapy tech, and she's like, well, They said they were going to send my dad home from the nursing home. So I went down a rabbit hole. What fucking rabbit hole? We've been telling you they were lying. We told you they were lying. You don't need to go down a rabbit hole. All you need to do is listen to other humans. See, the only way that we were able to come from the East Coast to the West Coast is we got into a wagon trail with a bunch of other people and we circled our wagons together. We've always done that since the beginning of humanity. We listen to each other and take advice from each other. That's how we survive in this big, crazy, fucked up place.
That FFIO law that she's talking about is a real law. So I hope a lot of people are prepared to take care of Mima and Papa, you know what I'm saying, and the damn molester uncle, because it's, you know, unfortunately, these folks got to go somewhere and they're going to come home with you. And for people who don't know, you know, nursing home cost anywhere from like $10,000 to $18,000 a month. It's very expensive. It's round the clock care. And a lot of people cannot afford this. So it's very, very disturbing what is coming down the pipeline for a lot of folks.
My dad lives in a nursing home. And by now, I'm sure you've seen the video circulating about a woman who's really concerned because her dad is getting kicked out of his nursing home due to Medicare. And this is just the anticipatory changes that the big, beautiful bill is putting into place. What people don't understand is a lot of nursing homes are actually owned by these big corporations, right? So the big corporations, your local branch isn't that, but like they are owned like by private equity, things like that. Like I know the one that my dad lives in is like that. And so the rules kind of come from on top. So it sounds like some of these nursing homes are figuring, well, we're not going to get reimbursed from Medicare in the future. So we're going to just start evicting people who, you know, pay that way because we don't want to suffer the losses. And
it's always about following the money trail. All of this stuff boils down to corporate greed, insurance companies being greedy. You know what I'm saying? You have to follow the money trail to find out where the truth lies. The rich get richer and everybody else is left to suffer and hold the bag.
Instead, we'll try to fill those spots with people who pay out of pocket. Now, in my case, like my dad, we actually pay out of pocket, or I should say he pays out of pocket for his nursing home care. But what is it going to do when I guarantee you like 70-80% of the people who are at my dad's facility are in some type of Medicare reimbursement, especially if they're in like very long-term care situations. Like that is super common. I don't think people understand that. And so what's going to happen when these facilities can't fill the apartments because there's not enough people who can afford? I mean, to give you an idea, it's over $4,000 a month, guys. $4,000. I mean, think about like that. That's like almost triple my mortgage. Okay. It's crazy. And in my case, like, what would happen if I was in this situation? Because I'm thinking about that. Like, what's going to happen if, like, my dad's facility, for example, shuts? Because there's not going to be beds anywhere for these people to go. So the burden is going to be on the families. And, like, in my case, I don't have anywhere to put this man. And I don't live in a handicap-accessible home. And there is no housing in my area. So I can't just, like, pick up and move. And I have a mortgage from 2011. Like, I can't just move. Like, that's not really an option. So like, I don't know what I would be doing if I was in that same situation, and I am really worried. And if you're thinking, well, I'm so lucky, I don't have anyone in nursing care, I'm not going to be impacted. Let me just tell you that this is just the one little arm of the ripple effect that this is all going to have, right? What's going to happen when hospitals aren't getting reimbursed for things? What's going to happen when your doctors are not getting reimbursed? They're going to go private practice. I'm telling you, this whole healthcare system is like on a house of cards. Like it's all going to come crumbling down, and it's going to come crumbling down fast, unfortunately. So if you are worried about this, if you have loved ones that are going to be impacted, or you know you're going to be directly impacted by this, please know you're not in this alone.
Okay, just found out this afternoon that the nursing home that my dad is in is ending their Medicaid contracts. And he has until September 15th to figure out what to do. And so I've just been down the rabbit hole to try to figure out why would a nursing home end their Medicaid contract.
Well, let me save you the trouble. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill. You know, Project 25, that you all said it didn't exist. Well, it did. So this is severe case of FAFO. Yes, the nursing home is severely filled with over 80% of the patients on Medicaid. And when the budget cuts happen, they have no other choice but to release the patients that are on Medicaid because they cannot afford to pay their bills. So move those little kiddos, combine them in one room, because you have to make room for Mima and Papa because they're coming home to you.
Yep, them nursing homes finna not take Medicaid, so y'all better get them rooms ready for Mima and Papa. Yeah, combine them kids' room, get rid of the den, man cave, whatever y'all got, scoot it over, because Mima and Papa.
Look, not Mima and Papa taking over the man cave, the basement, the wig room, and all that shit. Damn.
Papa is coming to the crib. I don't want to hear nothing. This is not what I voted for. Yes, this is absolutely what you voted for. Okay? No, I don't want to hear any of that. Mima and Papa will be at the crib in 30 to 45 days.
Damn.
All right? Yeah. Yeah. That's where we are. And listen, before you get in my comments with that red, blue, left, right, I don't want to hear none of that, bro. You can put that Trump hat and that shirt on your Mima and Papa, but they coming to the crib. You can best believe that. If your in-laws use Medicaid, a lot of these services are going to not accept Medicaid. So yeah, make room.
Social worker here who works with seniors. Y'all didn't think the big beautiful bill was gonna impact nursing homes? You didn't think that? Y'all don't realize that nursing homes is covered by Medicaid, right? You know 60-70%. Do y'all understand how budgets work? Do you think majority of the people that are in that nursing home just have $4,000 or $5,000 a month to cover their private pay? A lot of those places are being reimbursed by Medicaid. Okay? Medicare is a different thing. And some of Medicare is covered by Medicaid. Okay? Now you're talking about if they kick out all the people who are on Medicaid for their skilled nursing, one, we're talking about a ton of jobs lost. You're going to talk about the other people who are private pay. That's got to increase now. Okay, so you may be paying $4,000 a month with your retirement. Now that might go up to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, which means you'll run out of money sooner. And then where you gonna go? Because if you run out of money sooner and you get sicker, then where you gonna go?
Another thing that's going to go up too is elder abuse. Because think about it. If these people are not being reimbursed, there's no incentive for them to do their job. They're people gonna sit in soiled diapers longer, dirty rooms. You know, if they know they're not getting no money like they normally would, or the checks are slow, it's gonna be a lot of elders kind of left to their own devices until their family members come and get them. So that's a very scary thought as well.
And we ain't gonna even get into the SNAP benefits and how that's going to impact nutrition and how that's going to impact farms and the cost of food in general. See, when things happen when the government stops doing certain things and it impacts people who are lower income, you think that ain't working and contributing, you think that's not going to impact you too? I'm so confused. Why is this rocket science? I realized that a lot of people, they really think that the government was giving handouts and didn't realize that their hand was out too. It was behind their back with their hand out. See, you didn't have your hand out in front of you, so it seemed like you was better than everybody else. But reality, your life has also been being compensated by the taxpayers of this good.
Exactly. The farmers that were getting all types of supplemental benefits were able to sell their crops to the schools, and the military and U.S. aid. A lot of people were getting handouts. They swore up and down. They were pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, but they too were getting some type of government benefit. And now those benefits are not there, and now people are upset. You know what I'm saying? People are losing their farms. They're losing their medical. This, again, a trickle-down effect. It affects one, it can affect us all because we are all one big circle of life.
Americas, okay? Here in the United States, these states, your medical is being covered that way. Your medical is being discounted in some ways because we had those backings of those federal dollars. So you're not getting the coverage that your congressperson is getting, okay? They got good benefits in the government. Specifically Congress. They didn't cut other stuff for the federal workers, and most of them are gone. What did y'all think was gonna happen? Yes. And
remember, folks was laughing at the federal workers. Remember, I did a whole video. Folks was keying, laughing, that they were losing their jobs. And like I said, these people are not aliens. They're not about to just beam themselves up and go into the sky. They're not the Anunnaki, okay? These folks are going to be coming to the job market. They're going to be applying for jobs and competing with regular folks for the job market. So all of this is having a huge trickle-down effect.
And people are pushing people out of these nursing homes now. These are big corporations. This is not, you don't have just a Jack and Jill little around the corner. These people are corporations. They looking at their bottom line. It's a business. A nursing home is a business. These are just not nice people coming to work to take care of your granny or to take care of you. Honey, when you vote, you got to know the information. Y'all been being lazy voters and people been trying to tell you, but you ain't listen. You got that FAFO.
So for all y'all said that the changes to the Medicaid program were only for the able-bodied people, we just got to get these people to work. You said it was not going to impact the disabled or the elderly. Yeah, I invite you to scroll your TikTok timeline today and see all the families that got notices that said that they have to get their parents and their elderly people and disabled people out the nursing home because the nursing home is no longer going to be accepting Medicaid. Now you tell me what's going to happen to these people. There's already a shortage of beds when it comes to this population anyway. So where they going to go? Home with the family? Families aren't trained in this type of care. They can't afford to have nurses to come in. If they could, they wouldn't have their people in a nursing home, right? A process of elimination, no pun intended. Tell me what's going to happen to these people. Because your administration doesn't want Medicaid. And what's sad is that this is just a precursor to the impact of the big bad bill. Yeah. Y'all voted for that.
I took this comment off of somebody else's page because an RN said she got laid off and someone put this in her comments. People don't understand healthcare, period. I've been in health insurance for 17 years this year. My company I work for has already let us know they're going to have a layoff later this fall, and they will have one next year because of the big beautiful bill. Medicaid keep the lights on. Medicare is what keeps the lights on a lot of different insurance companies and a lot of hospitals. Why y'all think a lot of hospitals in rural areas and stuff are closing down? Because Medicare and Medicaid keeps the lights on. And then I follow Kelsey, and Kelsey was saying that Anthem is not paying her bills. Anthem can't pay your bills for your autism center if they not being paid by the government. It's a full cycle. It's a full circle. I've been in claims. I've been in quality. I've been on I've done it all. Pills and grievance. I have been on every spectrum of health insurance. It's a full cycle. I've seen it all. I paid claims, denied claims, processed appeals and grievances, denied appeals and grievances, worked with Maximus, overturning stuff, worked in dental and vision, dealing with just Medicaid. Like, I've done it all. And when I say we're in for a rude awakening, and the crazy thing about it is Medicare and Medicaid have the most fraud too. So it's probably why they're cracking down on it, which I get. However, it's going to hurt a lot of different professions, nurses, health insurance companies. It's going to hurt all the way around. It's a full cycle moment. And I had read an article that says that Donald Trump is already 46% done with the Project 2025. And it has only been, 7 months? Just imagine what's going to happen in the next few months. We're fucked.
Y'all know that video I just made a while back about Trump's big beautiful bill cutting the goddamn Medicaid benefits and food stamp benefits to the elderly and the kids. Yeah, we are all gonna fuck around and find out. Like I told y'all, it's gonna affect everyone. I just took my daughter to a dentist appointment this past week. I had to pay $150 out of my fucking pocket because I found out that my 3-year-old daughter's Medicaid is inactive and has been canceled. Why the fuck would you cancel my 3-year-old daughter's Medicaid? I'd rather you take my shit and let her have her shit. You can take the fucking food stamps. Let us have our fucking Medicaid. I don't give a fuck. I'd rather pay out of pocket for fucking food than these high-ass doctor's appointments and high-ass medications. And what's not clicking to me is last month, I just went and got a refill on my asthma pumps. I didn't have to pay nothing. So I call and check up on my Medicaid. My Medicaid good. Don't let me have my Medicaid and took my 3-year-old daughter's Medicaid away. And she's just been diagnosed with nonverbal autism. So y'all can only imagine the appointment for one of her speech therapy appointments is $1,085 fucking dollars. I'm not paying that. I'm just gonna do what the fuck I gotta do and teach my daughter ahead of time. She's finna start school soon. So I'm just gonna do what the fuck I gotta do as a fucking mom. Dollars for y'all to sit with my child for an hour or two, sometimes not even that, and just be looking at her. Sometimes they don't even do, man, like I said, pray for these kids, pray for the elderly, because they're not even aiming at us. I'm 28. I would expect them to take my Medicaid or my food stamps away when he passed this bill. But no, y'all took my 3-year-old daughter's Medicaid away.
A little serious for me. You can officially say that you know or you have seen someone who no longer has health insurance. My Medicaid was cut off after 15 years of being on Medicaid. I no longer qualify, according to the administration. I require for my life medications. I take 23 pills a day. From about a dozen medications. My total bill, if I were to buy them myself, which I can't afford to do, but it's $1,168 a month for my medications. I am not going to be able to afford that. I just afforded what I could. I got 7 medications out of 12. I can't buy the other ones. Some of them are just way out of touch. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no one to reapply to. There's no one to complain to. There's really, I'm shit out of luck, basically. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it happened. Okay. So if you're thinking that it can't happen to you, I'm just a guy. All right. I'm just a guy who doesn't have insurance anymore. To get insurance, from what I understand.
Y'all, I did not know how emotionally, like, this big thing is making changes already. I work in Medicare. Y'all noticed already. The way these calls is coming, it's like now it's just the same thing. It's no doctors accepting Medicare. It's people losing their plans and didn't know because Medicaid changed like that. Medicaid status is changing because people is making $2 over the limit. Like, medications, doctors, specialists, dialysis, transportation, allowance cards. But y'all not gonna care until y'all see it in y'all face, because y'all not in the house with somebody who on Medicaid or Medicare. Y'all not worrying about y'all grandma and y'all uncle house and how they eating, but they calling me, and it's real. Thank God for the music festivals going around, and hopefully they make a change.
So you guys just saw all of those clips concerning the Medicaid, but now what's even more disturbing, as somebody, you know, who has to deal with the medical system, you know, all the time, right? People who have chronic illnesses and just everything else, a lot of doctors are now being fired. Nurses are being fired. Hospitals are being shut down around the country. You know, doctors who have been in their field for years are getting laid off. This is scary. You know, it's scary when the farmers were losing their farms and, you know, not able to sell their crops because that's our food that we need to sustain ourselves. It's scary that the ports and the people at the ports were being laid off, you know, who helped take things off the container ships that are shipped in from other countries. A lot of them got laid off. But now we're dealing with the medical facilities, and a lot of doctors and nurses are now being laid off. So this is getting even scarier, because that means if you have a medical emergency, if you go to the hospital, if you need to be seen by a doctor, you may not have a doctor there to see you. It's going to make the wait times even longer. It's going to make it where, you know, you may not be able to see a doctor for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months. So this is getting really scary. I'm going to go ahead and play you guys some videos of doctors and nurses talking about themselves being laid off.
Been doing the research, and this is the conclusion that I've come to. Who would have thought doctors would lose their jobs? But doctors are being laid off, as well as nurses. And I've been doing the research, and this is the conclusion that I've come to. The Medicare fees that were being charged to Medicare by hospitals and or clinics were so inflated and so high and had so much profit built in that now that they've been reduced and now they're at the levels where they're supposed to be, the people who wrote the budgets didn't account for this. Therefore, it's going to look like they're losing money and they're not profitable. So like every other corporation out there, when you're chasing a number, if you're publicly traded, the easiest way to get there is to cut staff. And you'll hear these doctors say, I had lines, there was 6 months worth of appointments set up. It doesn't matter. If the hospital doesn't see the profit, the people that get cut first are those that work on salary. So they're going to have to take some time to adjust back down to where they were actually supposed to be, what they're supposed to be billing Medicare instead of the inflated numbers that were being allowed. And that is exactly why we see so many doctors and nurses being laid off, because they didn't account for losing as much profit as they did when they flipped the switch and dropped Medicare cost down to where it's supposed to be.
So I am a doctor, and I was just let go, and my chief said verbatim that it was directly due to the big beautiful bill, due to the prospective budget cuts, or to the budget cuts, the expected budget cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. So yeah, I feel very vulnerable right now, and it's like I didn't know it could happen to me until it happened to me. So yeah, Trump sucks. Yeah, but I'm gonna cry, and then after that, hopefully I'll be okay. But yeah, update.
That's so sad. This is a doctor who is not out of work directly because of the big beautiful bill.
The 4th that they were going to lay us off, and yet when you call HR, when I have called HR to ask regarding my final pay, they don't know anything, and then they have to investigate, and then finally it shows that yes, I have been terminated. So yeah, but I still haven't gotten my final pay. I haven't gotten any responses for my severance letter that I sent back with signature. I haven't even gotten a reply stating yes, it was received, working on it, expect so many days until you get paid for that. So yeah, I'm very disappointed with Optum and their communication, because they've had about 14 days to work on all of the employees, paperwork, final day, final pay. They should have been ready to give us our final pay already. They should have already emailed us back that they received our severance packets signature, but nothing of that has happened yet. So it's really discouraging to know that.
I don't know if y'all know this, but they have been cutting a lot of doctors. I just seen a video and I had to go Google this. They are cutting doctors. Okay, like people are working until the end of the month, and then after that they don't have a job, or of course they have to go find a job as a doctor. You mean to tell me that this world is want money so bad for all this other stuff that's really not important, to where you're gonna cut doctors? I read it and it's pretty much said they're cutting doctors, especially at the VA. It said the VA has a 95% low rate on having doctors. It's lower than normal, 95%. Okay, that when it comes time to set appointments, that your appointments can be booked out for months and months. Like, this is August. You couldn't probably see a doctor until like November, right? So I don't think people are paying attention to what's going on. If we don't have doctors, what are we doing? This is nuts. This is insane. And I try to like read the news and pay attention, and somehow I miss that. But cutting doctors and people in the medical field, people who went to school for years, is crazy to me. This is horrible.
So I got laid off today. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 3 years. I've been a home health nurse for the past year. Alongside being a home health nurse, I've also been a healthcare coach remotely. A few weeks ago, I was laid off from my second job as a healthcare coach due to Medicaid cuts. Today, I was laid off from my agency due to my client being cut from Medicaid. Mind you, this is healthcare, one of the most lucrative, job secure fields that you could possibly have. And here we are, having nurses and doctors being laid off left to right under this administration. And if you ask me, this is only the beginning. If we don't do something now, things are going to get worse after this. You have groceries increase, gas increase, bills increase, unemployment increase. This is crazy. This is crazy, and something really needs to be done.
All right, tea sippers. So you guys just saw all of those videos. It is getting real out here. Medicaid is basically saying count your days to the elderly, the sick, the people who have mental health issues. They're cutting everything, including now doctors and nurses are losing their jobs. It is getting scary out here, but I want to leave the discussion up to you guys. I want to know y'all's opinion on this whole situation. Did you guys know that the Medicare cuts and the nursing home cuts were beginning come September? Have you been hearing about the doctor layoffs? Are you a doctor or nurse that was recently laid off? Are you having to go and get your parents out of a nursing home and take care of them? So let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Please leave a comment down below. Please make sure you guys share this video. Let's get this information out to everyone. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll talk to you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.